Hey everybody, how's everyone doing? Sorry I'm late. Having some technical difficulties over here. I hope everybody's had a good week. And thank you all for coming. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Hey Heather, hey Robin, Ann, thank you for coming and so good to see you. And thank you so much for the super chat. That's awesome. I really appreciate that. Hello to Tamara. Good to see you. All right, so tonight I thought it would be really fun to just chat about some of the herbs that are used in Mexico. So I prepared a presentation that you see here, and I was going to share it on my other laptop because I know I have problems with freezing up on this one when I'm sharing the screen. So can everybody hear and see me? Everything, is it all working out okay? Because I'm having to do this just from one laptop. I know my laptop doesn't necessarily like that. Hey, Rebecca, good to see you. Thank you for coming. Okay, good to know. All right. Thank you all for confirming for me. So for anybody who's watching the replay, thank you for coming and supporting this live, and especially all of you that come here while I'm live, because it's so nice to have folks to talk to while I'm doing this. But this is a weekly herbal study hall. People of all, beginner to experienced are welcome. I love it when everybody shares their feedback about their own personal experiences with herbs. That makes it great for all of us. Hey, Xander, thanks for coming in. This study hall is held once a week on Tuesday evenings, 6 p.m. Central Time. And we cover an herbal concept. We'll often do monographs, and we'll share herbal recipes. It's just a nice way for us all to come together. Hey, Michael's Adventures, thank you for coming. Before we get started, I need to do my disclaimer that I always do to satisfy, the powers that be at YouTube. And this live is for educational purposes only. I'm not a medical professional, and nothing shared here is meant to diagnose, treat, or replace medical advice from a qualified healthcare provider. This goes for me and any comments that are in the chat. Herbalism can be supportive, but everyone's body and health history are different. So please talk with your doctor or another licensed professional before trying new herbs, especially if you're pregnant, nursing, taking medications, or managing any kind of chronic medical condition. This space is all about learning, exploring traditions, and understanding plants, not giving personal medical advice. So thank you all so much for coming. Before we hop into our herbs of Mexico, does anybody want to share any herby things that they've done in the last week? I had to strain off a tincture, so I did that. And I had to mix up a couple new teas, got that done. And I've also I planted some seeds out in the garden for some new herbs to grow this year. Has anybody been doing any of those kinds of things? I know that a lot of folks in here are gardeners, so I'm sure you're probably planting some new herbs. And share with me, what do you have in your cup? What are you all drinking tonight for your tea? I'm drinking a red rooibos tea, and I added some cinnamon and a little bit of cayenne pepper in there. I'm drinking it coffee style. Red rooibos is kind of a good substitute for coffee. When you add a little bit of cream, a little bit of sweetener, some cinnamon, and some cayenne pepper, it gives it a coffee feel, very warm. Xander said, I got mushrooms growing in some of my containers now. Somehow, that's all I got. That's awesome. I mean, if you want them there. Kombucha with cayenne. Awesome, Anne. Water with water. Tamara, you can never go wrong with water. All right. Let me go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and jump into this. I might freeze when I try to go and push the thing the presentation forward. So bear with me. All right. So I thought it would be cool to talk about the 10 most used herbs in Mexican folk herbalism. And between all of the herbs, there are 4,500 plus herbs that have medicinal plants and that are native to Mexico. And 90% of Mexicans have used traditional herbal medicine in their lifetime. And there's 3,000 plus years of Mesoamerican herbal knowledge contained within Mexico. And Mexico's really fascinating because the country itself, they have the history of the Mayans, they have the history of the Aztecs. So just so much history. And that's carried over into their herbal traditions. Heather said, I've been doing lemon balm and water to drink, also adding fresh cilantro and parsley to salads. Awesome, Heather. So the top 10 most beloved herbs are, and here we go. We're going to go through these one by one, but I'll tell you offhand what they are in Spanish and English. Manzanilla, which is chamomile. Epazote, which is worm seed. Hierbabuena, which is spearmint. Sabila, which is aloe vera. Ruta, which is rue. Gordolobo, which is mullein. Cola de caballo, horsetail. Tila, which is linden. And Arnica mexicana, which is Mexican arnica. And chaya, which is tree spinach. All right. So we're going to go ahead and jump in to manzanilla, which is chamomile. And where I used to live, there was an herbaria that I could go into, which was an herb store, and everything was in Spanish. So when I went in there, I'd have to figure out ahead of time what I needed in Spanish in order to buy it there. And they had, all the herbs along the wall like you would see in any other herb store. But the owners spoke Spanish. They didn't speak any English. I mean, in Arizona, you find stores like this. It's not uncommon per se. So it was, and I thought this would be fun because it's fun to see how different cultures use herbal medicine. Can everybody see the screen well? And am I freezing up? All right, we're going to jump into, and I'm going to join on my phone too, just in case I'm freezing up. But let's jump into this chamomile. All right, culinary use. I've put in here 4 different categories for each one of these herbs because I thought it would be cool to look at them and see how are they used in culinary ways, because the herbal use of herbal medicine is often incorporated in food in Mexico. And I know this just from people that I've been friends with and things. So hold on. Okay. I think I am frozen up. But culinary use. So you can brew this, obviously, chamomile. We've all had chamomile tea, and it's very common there to be blended into an herbal infusion alone or with other herbs. And it's also occasionally used to flavor other things, including just like they'll do cold infusions and make like what they call an herbal agua or, herbal water, and also to sweeten foods with. Internally, the medicine use is similar to how we use it, as you would expect. And they also use it in children. So used to relieve colic in children. Freezing up? No. Okay, good. But you can hear me good. Okay. Topical use. It's used as a steam facial bath for deep pore cleansing, as a warm compress for eye irritation. And I've heard about that. I've heard that you can use the chamomile tea bags on your eyes if they're swollen, if you have any kind of eye infection. They're great for that. They'll relieve puffiness, and they'll also relieve like under eye circles. But if you're allergic to it, don't do that. Heather, I'm thinking of you because I know you are. They also add it to the baby's bath water for colic and skin soothing, and as a wound rinse for minor skin irritation. And I included a column in here about regional importance because I thought that would be fun. It is Mexico's most popular herbal remedy tea, manzanilla or chamomile. It's sold everywhere. You can buy it prepackaged in all the markets. It is a cornerstone of Mexican home remedy culture across all regions. So, yeah, and Heather, we are all thinking about you and your allergy to chamomile. All right, so we're going to move on to epazote, which is actually a new one to me. So epazote is also called worm seed or Mexican tea. It's Dysphagia ambrosioides is the Latin term for it. And it's a fresh herb in a dish that's called frijoles negros or mole negro and tamales. So it's a food. It's cooked as a food. It's a staple in Oaxacan, and anybody who's cooking with like a Yucatecan kitchens. It's a certain way of cooking. But it's a food. It's anti-parasitic, expels intestinal worms, relieves gas, bloating, digestive complaints. It's brewed as a medicinal tea also for stomach and intestinal health. Topically, it's used as a poultice for insect bites and minor skin irritations, and also as a leaf compress for localized inflammation or injuries. It is the cornerstone. If we want to think about regional importance, it is the cornerstone of Oaxacan and Yucatan cuisine. It's found at every sort of Mexican market and herbal place that you can see. Pantry and medicine cabinet essentials, uniquely bridges culinary and healing traditions. So that's an interesting one. Has anybody here heard of epazote? Beans is frijoles. Yeah, sorry, guys. I speak Spanish. And I mean, I mostly speak Spanglish, but I do speak Spanish. I can speak Spanglish really good. It's a thing. It is a thing. All right. So hierbabuena, that is what we refer to as spearmint. Oh, I see. I forgot to put the name on here. Okay. So hierbabuena is spearmint. Okay. So they use it a lot like we do. It's added to refreshing drinks, teas, fruit cups, salsas, and all kinds of uses for this. And I should come in here. Oh, I can't edit it from the screen. But it's widely used in Mexican beverages and light dishes. Internally, they use it to calm digestive upset, nausea, stomach cramps, relieves flatulence and indigestions, helps to reduce fever and ease cold symptoms. Widely drank as an after-meal digestive tea. Topically, the fresh leaves are rubbed on temples and forehead for headaches, as a mild antiseptic for oral health and fresh breath, a cooling compress for the skin, and a steam inhalation for congestion relief. Has anybody here used spearmint in those ways? So I tend to add it to a tea mix. And when I think about headache treatment, the one that I usually go to is it's like an essential oil blend of eucalyptus and peppermint. I haven't actually tried the spearmint, but that's interesting. I might try that. And I do have friends who have said that they use the, gosh, help me guys, what's it called? It's like a Vaseline kind of thing that you put on your chest if you're congested. Hey, Jennifer, good to see you. But they'll put that on their head for headaches. My grandson is half Mexican and his grandparents are from Mexico. Vicks. Yeah, they when he was a baby, they would put Vicks on his head all the time because that way if he hit his head, it would help him. This is what she told me. They put Vicks on babies' heads, like their foreheads, because if they fall down or they, bump into something, it helps them to prevent from getting any bruising from, and maybe it helps their head to be slippery so it slides instead of just, taking a direct impact or something. But I thought that was interesting. They use Vicks for all kinds of stuff. Headaches, things like I just mentioned, just all kinds of stuff. But I thought that was interesting to hear about the spearmint because I like the idea of an after meal kind of tea to help with digestion. I'm accustomed to bitters that you take before you eat. So that was kind of interesting. Okay, what else do we got? So let's see. Regional importance, grown in nearly every Mexican home garden and windowsill. It's one of the most universal household herbs across all Mexican regions, and it's a go-to kitchen and first aid remedy. Yeah, you can see that. Helps fever, ease cold systems, good for indigestion, upset stomach, nausea, stomach cramps, headaches topically, antiseptic for oral health, a cooling compress for the skin, steam inhalation for congestion relief. A lot of stuff there. Okay. Moving on. I'm sure yeah. Well, and actually, I mean, my grandson's like 9. So they did this, when he was a baby. It's just, I mean, I'm sure it's got some truth to it. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at it. Just because somebody does something differently doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong. It's just different, right? And it must work. Like, I don't know. It must. I will say he never had any bruises on his head. Mom, I forgive you for using vapor rub. I can remember the vapor rub treatment too. All right. Moving on. All right, next up is sabila, which is aloe vera. And as I would expect, their use of it is very much like ours. Consumed fresh as a health juice, blended into smoothies and wellness drinks, sold as bottled health beverages. Internal medicine use, soothes gastritis, acid reflux, intestinal inflammation, relieves constipation, and promotes gut health, boosts immune function and overall wellness. And then they use it topically as well to soothe burns, sunburns, cuts, insect bites, to reduce inflammation and promotes wound healing for eczema, psoriasis, skin irritations, and applied as a nourishing hair and scalp mask. That one was new to me. So the hair mask, that one was new to me. Hey, Teagsy, good to see you. Thanks for coming. Yes, happy Cinco de Mayo. All right, what am I missing in the chat? Have you all used aloe vera? I did a couple videos on aloe vera like about 3 years ago, where I showed how we harvested our aloe vera. I had a huge aloe vera plant named Spike, and I harvested some of his leaves, and I showed everybody how to do that, because you do have to be careful. You've got to, after you cut off your leaf that you're going to be using, which I had a huge aloe vera leaf. You can buy aloe vera leaves at the grocery store sometimes. You put it, like, you could take a cup of water, like you see here, and put that leaf in there, and you want to just let all of the yellow stuff strain out, and you'll keep soaking it like that, cut side down until the water's not yellow anymore. That helps to get the latex out. And then you can use it in smoothies. I like to keep it in the freezer. You can freeze it or refrigerate it, whatever. Pull it out to use for sunburns. I think I'd put it in soap and I shared a video about that. I love to use aloe vera in a lotion. I think it's amazing. I lost about 10 big plants, left them out too long before winter. Aw, darn it, Anne. I wish I could find another huge aloe plant, and I think I'm going to have to buy one. All the aloe plants I see here are just, they've got skin, it must be a different kind of aloe because they've got skinny, leaves on them. They're very small and thin. Yeah, cut and put in the fridge. And I will tell you, if you don't think they're good for your skin, wait till your skin is like really dry and put some on your skin, and it's amazing how good it is. Amazing. There's a hotel in Jamaica my neighbor will go to every year and bring me back the shampoo samples. They make aloe shampoo. That is amazing. Yeah, I never thought about using it for the scalp. I thought that was interesting. Okay, regional importance. Aloe plants kept in nearly every Mexican household as instant first aid. Also sold fresh at all of the mercados and commercial juices nationwide. Beloved across all regions, from urban homes to rural communities. And it's often called, in Spanish, la planta milagrosa. And that is the miracle plant. La planta milagrosa. The miracle plant. Dried crushed shrimp tails and eggshells they love. Do they? Oh, I didn't know that either. Okay. Any questions about aloe vera before we move on? Or any other ways you guys use it? I put it in soap. I put it in a melt and pour soap, to be specific. And that's one reason I like I love cold process soap and I love melt and pour soap. And I love them both because in melt and pour soap, you can add things that you can't add to cold process soap. For example, you can add the aloe into your melt and pour soap and it's still going to be aloe. It's not going to have to withstand the saponification process that your cold process soap goes through. You can put essential oils in melt and pour soap that won't make it through the saponification process for cold process soap. I used to use it a lot. I'm going to look for another aloe plant. That's a really big one. I'm going to see if I can find one and add some honey too. Oh yeah. Into the soap. Absolutely. Aloe is also a great rooting hormone for cuttings. I didn't know that, Teagsy. It's also good for gut health. Yep. That's why we like to include it in a smoothie. Or even, you could throw it into, water. All right. Let's go see what the next one is. Next up is ruda, which is Ruta graveolens, also called rue. And I didn't put that English name on here. But it's rue that we're talking about. And I've never used rue. Only rue that I know of is when you make that kind of gravy kind of rue. That's the only rue, not the plant. I have not used rue. Have any of you guys used rue? If you have, put it in the chat. I'd love to hear about that. So rue is not used for culinary use. It is occasionally added to artisanal spirits or folk infusions, probably kind of like how we do with juniper is what I'm thinking of. But it's primarily a medicinal and a ceremonial herb in Mexico. Internal medicine use, it regulates the menstrual cycle, relieves headaches and nervous tension, antispasmodic for muscle cramps, noted to not be safe during pregnancy, which I didn't put little safety comments on all of these. I could have put that same thing for chamomile. Chamomile is not safe during pregnancy either. Topical medicinal use includes, so they will do, and this is, with some of especially the folks in Mexico that have a large Native American background, those folks will do spiritual cleansing. They call it limpias, and they use the branches to, I guess, you've seen it probably in movies and stuff, but they do things like that with it. It's used in herbal purification baths, so they'll make a bath out of it. And poultices are used to apply to localized muscle pain and bruising. Regional importance. So it just has so much historical meaning and spiritual healing for a lot of people there coming from their ancestry. And they'll even hang the, sprigs around their doorways and things. It's a sacred herb to them for that reason, which is a little differently than how we use stuff here. But let me see if anybody commented. Coming back here so I can see. Hey, Aidenir. Growing rue, but haven't used it yet. Cool. Tigsy, I hope you do a video to kind of share what you end up doing with that. Rue can cause skin allergies. Thank you, Jennifer. You used honey as a rooting thing? That's cool. Oh, cool, Heather. Toothache plant seeds. Awesome. All right. Let me go ahead and move on. This next one, they call it Gordo Lobo, and it's mullein. So we love mullein, right? They do not have any culinary use of their mullein. So it's not used in the culinary world, which kind of makes sense because we don't either. Not really, but we do a tea from it. And that's what they do also. Primary herb is for coughs, bronchitis, and asthma. Also steam inhalation for deep respiratory relief. And that's a good idea because I know you can smoke mullein. And they do suggest like smoking mullein when somebody's quitting cigarettes because it helps to clean out the lungs. But some people don't want to smoke mullein. I mean, don't blame them. And it's kind of like you're trying to break the habit of smoking anything, right? When you're quitting smoking. I love the idea of using it as a steam. And I've never thought about using mullein as an herbal steam. An herbal tea to treat respiratory, but not an herbal steam. And also it soothes sore throats, reduces chest inflammation, relieves congestion and respiratory spasm. Brewed as a strong tea with honey and lemon. Yep. And that's how I do it. I might also mix it with thyme when I'm making an herbal tea. How are we so far? Does any of this sound familiar to you guys? Has anybody here done a steam with mullein? When I think herbal steam, I'm thinking more aromatic herbs, like maybe eucalyptus or mint or something like that. I'm trying to get my sister to drink mullein tea to help with her bronchitis breakouts. Yeah. And put a glob of honey out, put it in soil. A few months later, it was growing leaves and had roots again. Huh. That's interesting, Jennifer. I'm going to have to try that. Yeah, not a steam, only used it as a tea. Yeah, same here. I hadn't really thought about it because it's not aromatic, so I wouldn't have thought that, but might have to try it. Yes, shower steamers are great. Okay. Topical medicinal use, occasional compress for minor skin inflammation and irritation. This was another one, a warm poultice applied to the chest for congestion. That's another one. I have not done that, and I didn't think about doing that either. It's also the first suggested remedy for any chest or respiratory complaint. That's like us. Trusted remedy in both rural and urban Mexican homes. One of the most beloved herbs in Mexico. So has anybody here thought about using mullein as a poultice? I make mullein tea and tincture during allergy season. It helps me with goldenrod. Okay, so you use goldenrod also. Cool. Yeah, I have not tried it as a steam. I have not tried it as a poultice. But I could see where it would have some benefit as like if you were making a poultice for something else. and you needed to have something to put it on because the leaves are so huge, maybe applying it like that so that you could kind of use it as a wrap, kind of like you would maybe with a sturdy cabbage leaf or something. It does make sense. I have heard of people, Native Americans in the United States would put the leaves in their shoes to help with any foot issues. And Ark Wildman said he had tried that before and it worked for him. I've also heard of mullein and used it in this way. The mullein root tincture is supposed to be really good for back pain. That came from Jim McDonald, the herbalist. I read some things from him about that and bought a mullein root tincture for that purpose. I mean, my back's better, but I was doing a lot of stuff. Can't say that it was all because of that either. But that was a new one to me, so that was interesting. My mother liked the mullein in the yard, saying it was invasive. I yelled, "It's not invasive in this area." And it was a wild one. Oh, nice. I'm sorry she killed it, but maybe it'll, come back somewhere else. No, but we'll probably need a poultice after trying to pull the basketball net and bricks that were out of the way. Oh, no. Oh, no. I hope that you're okay. Okay, let's move on to the next one. All right, next up, cola de caballo. So, tail of horse. Horsetail. That's what this one is. I love horsetail. So let's see how they use it. Occasionally, it's blended into wellness and health teas, not used as a food, basically consumed as a therapeutic herbal drink to help relieve joint pain and arthritis. A natural diuretic supporting kidney and urinary tract health. Reduces inflammation in the urinary system. It's an antioxidant and has antimicrobial properties. I love horsetail in a tea. It is great. It's like if you look at the back of your hair, skin, and nails supplements at the store, you're going to see horsetail as one of them because it has a lot of silicone in it. Oh, she poisoned it. Oh, darn it. That's too bad, Xander. Yes, so good for your skin. I love to infuse horsetail in avocado oil, and then I use that as an ingredient in an oil serum for my face. One of my most favorite things to do. Did you see what, Xander, did you see what Jennifer said? Plant 100 seeds all over the yard. Oh gosh, that's a good one. I have horsetail from Poland, but haven't used it yet. Interesting. All right, topical medicinal use, hair rinses to strengthen hair and add shine because it's rich in silica, and a warm compress for joint swelling and inflammation, occasional topical use for skin and irritation. And regional importance, it's widely sold dried throughout Mexico in little mercados, and it's included in commercial herbal supplements for kidney health and recommended nationwide by traditional healers for urinary and inflammatory complaints. So what about all of you? How have you guys used horsetail in your herbal goodies? I love it. Like I said, in a face oil. I also use it as an ingredient in a pain oil that I make. I like to add it to I have a vitamin T blend that I make. And it's one of the ingredients in there because of that silica content. And I feel like if you're going to be treating any kind of, joint pain, back pain, that kind of thing, it's just really supportive. I wouldn't say use it by itself. I would say it should be one of the things. Adding vodka to shampoo helps the scalp too. Natural remedy for dandruff too, and add shine. Interesting. That's interesting. I've never heard that before. Yeah, horsetail's great. where should so when I purchase herbs, I usually get them from Mountain Rose Herbs. There's another herb company called Herb Co. that seems to be pretty good. And it depends on which herbs they are, Tiegsy. If I'm getting any Ayurvedic herbs, I get them from Banyan Botanicals. But the horsetail, you should be able to find that from somebody good. Like if I was to go on, I think Herb Co. or Frontier is another good one. Like if you're, sometimes they don't have them, and you have to go to an alternative supplier. Just make sure that it's somebody reputable. Just so you can make sure that you're not getting, horsetail that was growing in a sewer or something. And that sounds horrible and an exaggeration, but I actually read an article. It wasn't about horsetail, it was about another herb. And they were saying this herb in other countries grows wild there, yes, but it's really proliferative in the most horrible of areas. So it's good to make sure that that you get it from somewhere that you know safe. iHerbs. I feel like I've bought from iHerbs before. I think it's kind of the random people or from the other, herbs from other countries, that kind of thing. You want to be careful of. I'll bet you could grow it where you're at too, Tiegsy. I'll bet you could grow it. Yeah, and I sometimes do too. Have to purchase them from Amazon because it's either that or I'm not gonna be able to get it. I went through that here recently with Solomon seal. Now I can get some herbs from the school that I'm going to too, which is kind of nice. So I get a lot, like all of my Chinese herbs from the school I'm going to because I know they're good quality. Like marshy pond stream areas. Okay. Yeah. What else? So topical use, internal use. We talked about horsetail in that regard. Yeah, I love this. Love that herb. It's not like a single herb use. I wouldn't suggest this for any single herb use. Even though they mention that it's good for urinary and kidney health, I don't have it right in front of me, but too much of a good thing is a bad thing, right? And I know that that's one of those herbs that too much of a good thing is a bad thing kind of thing. So it would be an ingredient, not a single use. You'd want to put it in with other stuff. Yeah, Frontier Co-op. Yep. I've purchased from them, Tiegsy. Yep, I think they're all right. Okay, let's see. What's next? All right, next up. Tila, which is linden blossom, also Tilia mexicana. So it's linden blossom, but notice that the name is Tilia mexicana, and the one that's the one we usually use is a little bit, it's different. It's in the same family. Let me see if I can find the name of it. It's linden, but it's a different Latin name for it. Bear with me. Oh, I don't have that book next to me. You're going to have to take my word for it. The one that we use is not Tilia mexicana. It's Tilia something else. But sometimes you'll see Tilia SPP, or you'll see your main herb name and it'll say SPP. And that just means there's lots of variations of it and they're all kind of the same. So this could be that way. But let's hear what they have to say about how they use linden. So they brew it as a common bedtime tea. It's combined with manzanilla or chamomile for enhanced relaxation. It's sweetened with honey or a sweetener they call piloncillo. Also sold as prepackaged tea sachets in supermarkets. And it's used for internal medicine use to reduce anxiety, stress, nervous tension. Promotes deep, restful sleep, used as a gentle remedy for insomnia, eases heart palpitations and nervous headaches in your forehead, for tension headaches also. Topically, it's applied as a warm compress And that's to soothe any irritated skin. Although they do say it's rarely used topically, it's primarily an internal herb, which makes more sense to me because when I was recently working on a monograph for Linden, I didn't see anything about topical use. But it is the herb that is synonymous with emotional calm in the Mexican culture. It's available everywhere. Mothers give it to anxious or restless children, and I did see that. And it is a nightly ritual for the elderly across all regions, just to help them be able to sleep. All right, let me see. Anybody here use linden teas? Linden tree, honeybees love. Do you have a linden tree, Heather? That's how I got mine. Amazon was from a good place in Poland that picks it fresh in the woods. Oh, very cool. Yeah, I found a really good supplier in Wisconsin for American ginseng tincture because I ordered American ginseng from my school, but I wanted to get a tincture quicker. You did, but it died. Darn. Yeah, I love linden. It's a big cardiovascular herb too, and it doesn't sound like they focus on much of the cardiovascular herb piece of it. And remember, this is like their internal use, how they use it. And I looked up the top 10 herbs used in Mexico. So, I mean, they do mention heart palpitations, and I was kind of limited on resources here for like how they use it. I didn't want to just go to my herb books. I wanted to make sure I was, trying to keep it true to the theme here. But it is in a heart ease blend tea. I've seen it in a lot of heart blend teas. But I love that they are suggesting combining it with chamomile because that would be great. I could see how it would be a really relaxing tea prior to going to bed. I thought I heard someone oiling their wood garden tool handles. Huh. Is there an oil from that? I don't know. Jennifer, Google it for us and then tell us what you find. Maybe there is. Because now that you mention it, I swear I think I've heard of like linden oil or something too. Does anybody else know? Okay, let me see what else we got here. All right. Moving on. Okay, this next one, Arnica mexicana. I want to point out, this is not Arnica montana. So it's Mexican Arnica. It's a different one. Heterotheca inuloides, which I felt was really odd. Like I Googled this Latin name just because the other one's Arnica montana. So it's weird. Like it's a really different Latin name. I don't know. I guess I was expecting it would be called Arnica mexicana, like right in the Latin name or something. But anyways, so it is different. It's not Arnica montana. So just saying, but it looks like it's very similar. It's not used in culinary. It's not a food herb. Okay. But internal medicine use, it's brewed as a tea for fever, colds, internal inflammation. It has analgesic properties. So, pain relief, just like the Arnica montana. Supports recovery from respiratory illness. That was interesting because I have not heard that before. And I haven't heard of using Arnica as a tea either. My only experience with Arnica is using it topically. Linseed oil. Okay, cool, Jennifer. Thanks for looking that up for us. So Arnica mexicana is like Arnica montana in that it reduces bruising, swelling, sprains, muscle soreness. It's anti-inflammatory for joint pain and arthritis. Flower infusion applied directly to sore or bruised areas. And then there's a note here, pomada de arnica is a Mexican household staple. So that's what they call it. And regional importance, it's the first herb Mexicans reach for after a bump, bruise, or sprain. And pomada de arnica is sold in every pharmacy and market nation. That's like an arnica salve, okay? In English, that would be what that is. It's trusted across all Mexican regions for pain and injury care. Anybody here use arnica? Robin said, I have an Arnica Montana seedling so far. Cool, Robin. Oh my gosh, that is so huge. Robin, I heard arnica was really hard to grow. So I need you to tell me what you did. I want to grow some arnica seeds too. By the way, speaking of seeds, Jennifer Ocean Homestead and Xander, y'all both have seeds coming. My pickle pusher wooden stick for fermenting is made of arnica wood. Very cool. Linden blossom essential oil. It's quite rare. Huh. I make arnica salve for rubbing my husband's sore back. Yep. I use infused arnica. Olive oil is the base. I infuse arnica in the olive oil, and I include it. It's another ingredient in the pain oil blend that I make. Yeah. Yours got there already? Boy, Xander, that was fast. When did I go to the post office? Huh. I swear I just went to the post office like yesterday. So, and Xander, I don't think I mailed you 2 packages of seeds. The ones that got there, are you sure they're from me? I mean, they might be. Maybe they arrived on April 17th. Yeah, you have more coming. You just won. You just won on my channel last week, remember? Maybe that was from when you won somewhere else. I don't know what the deal is, Xander, but anytime I do a giveaway, you should make sure to show up because I'll swear I've sent you more prizes than anybody. You're very lucky with the wheel when I'm using the wheel. All right. Yeah. Linden oil inside our bee boxes. Or linseed. Wait, linden or linseed? Yes, and happy late birthday, Xander. Okay. All right, let's go on to the next one. How are we doing time-wise? We're doing good. All right. Next up is chaya. And this one was interesting to me because I have not heard of it before. And this is the one that's called like spinach or something. Hang on, guys. I got to go back to the beginning to see the name. Whoops. It was tree spinach. Okay. I'm going to go back to where we were. Tree spinach. Anybody here heard of tree spinach? This was a first for me. I haven't heard of a tree spinach. I haven't heard anybody talking about tree spinach. I haven't heard anybody eating tree spinach. But can you imagine a tree that's called tree spinach? That's got me pretty curious. Now, they do say that it's used for culinary use, but it's cooked leaves, and I guess it's another ingredient when you're eating some Yucatecan tamales, tortillas, and soup. It's always also used in what they call agua fresca de chaya, which is a popular regional drink. It's always cooked, never consumed raw, because it's toxic when it's raw. I'm betting, and I didn't dig into it, but I'm betting it's probably because it has like a high level of those things. It has a high level of tannins is what I'm thinking. You know, kind of similar to, you've heard of chaya before, Tixie? Yeah, that was a totally new one to me. It's a staple green in southeastern Mexican cuisine. Oh my gosh. Anybody else here love Mexican food? Seriously. Put a 1 in the chat if you love Mexican food. I told my husband, I said, I'm doing this live. And I said, I think Mexico is like my second favorite country. Like if I had to have one, the United States, of course, is my first favorite country because I live here and I was born here. But I think Mexico would be like a runner up, right? Like it's the second favorite. I love their food. Their food is amazing. They're our neighbors. They have such a rich culture with the Mayan history, Aztec history. I mean, that goes right back to like Egypt's pyramids and stuff, right? It's kind of cool. And we won't talk about the political stuff because I'm not going to present my political opinion on anything. We'll go, but I still love the country. Like it's a completely different thing, separate from any political stuff. Just saying. No matter what you think about everything, you could still love the country itself. All right, internal medicine use of the chaya. It helps regulate blood sugar, traditional diabetes support, prevents anemia because it's rich in iron, calcium, and protein. Anti-inflammatory and immune boosting because it's got high amounts of vitamin A and C. Supports lactation for nursing mothers. Improves memory and brain function. It kind of reminds me of, oh gosh, what's the other? Moringa. Like a moringa tree that has so many amazing qualities to it. Kind of reminds me of that. But it's different. Topical medicine use, they also use it as a poultice for minor skin conditions. And the sap, the tree sap, is used sparingly in folk remedies for irritation. There's limited topical tradition compared to the internal use, though. So not much of that. And here's an interesting one. So I don't know, this must be a small tree because it says it's grown in household gardens across Mexico. So it must be a little tree. Yeah, iron and memory stuff. You know what else has iron in it that a lot of people aren't aware of is molasses. Molasses is high in iron. And back in the day, it was kind of an old-fashioned thing for people to just go take a teaspoonful of molasses every day as like a little iron boost. Regional importance. Native to Tabasco and the Yucatan Peninsula. Yes, there's a place called Tabasco. Sacred food medicine plant in the ancient Mayan culture and in southeastern Mexico. And it's rising recognition-wise nationally as a nutritional superfood. Oh, raisins. Those are high in iron too. Blackstrap molasses. I got some and I do that every night. Good deal. I need a tree to shade my bee boxes. Oh, well, there's one. Switch drink, molasses. Very cool. Anybody have any questions or comments on chaya? Oh my gosh, look at this. We're doing good. Real quick, one more slide. Okay, so key takeaways. Mexico is home to 4,500 plus medicinal plants. It is one of the world's richest herbal traditions, home of one of the world's richest herbal traditions. 90% of Mexicans have used traditional plant medicine at least once in their life. Knowledge of herbal healing has been passed down for thousands of years from Mesoamerican civilizations, the Aztec, the Mayan, and here's another name for you that I came across, the Zapotec, just another group that's maybe not as famous, and even beyond those. Each herb carries not just medicinal properties, but cultural memory, spiritual meaning, and community identity woven through generations. So it's really cool. And then I shared a little quote with you, and that is, plant medicine is the people's medicine. It always has been, and it always will be. And I have no idea who said that, but I do love that quote because it's true. And I think it's fascinating to look at how other populations of peoples have used herbs over, the thousands of years. I just think that's really fascinating. Jennifer. All right. Now, any questions before we wrap it up? And I'm going to give you a reminder for next week. I pulled out the book. This is, oh, I've got the blur on. Okay, here we go. Do you see it? Hold on. Cholesterol Down. You see that? This is the book I was talking about last time when we were talking about heart herbs. So we're going to bounce back to Cholesterol Down. I'm going to share with you guys just a quick book review on this. And then I'm going to remind you of the herbs that are supposed to be great for lowering cholesterol, because cholesterol is not the bad guy. The bad guy is the inflammation that's happening in your vessels. Like the bad guy is the bag of Doritos, that when you eat the Doritos and it gets into your bloodstream, it kind of flows through like, what was that guy's name in that scary movie that had the long nails, Freddy something or another? They go through your blood vessels like this, scraping up your blood vessels as it travels along. Freddy Krueger. Okay. That's what happens to the inside of your blood vessels. And then your cholesterol has to come around and it has to help treat your blood vessels to keep them healthy by throwing some, Band-Aids on them, AKA cholesterol. So this book doesn't tell you about what not to eat. It explains cholesterol to you, and it tells you about what you should eat every day. My dad followed this book to a T, and he dropped his cholesterol like, oh my gosh, it was like almost 200 points. It was crazy town. And he still eats the things that it says to eat, and his cholesterol is super low now. So we're going to chat about this, and we're going to chat about those heart herbs. So I hope y'all will join me. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Remember, do all the herby things and come back and report to me what you've done next week. All right. Thanks so much for coming. I appreciate you all. Hope you have a great rest of your week. Bye, everybody.